Moving on now to South Africa. The country's black empowerment laws have been marred by controversy. These laws were designed to right the wrongs of apartheid, but they have drawn Donald Trump's frustration and put Pretoria in his line of fire. Which is why the South African government might now be trying to change it. Pretoria has proposed amending the broad-based black empowerment economic policy. It was introduced to address economic inequality that has persisted in South Africa since the end of apartheid over 3 decades ago. And this is how it works. The policy functions as a scorecard system. Companies can earn points if they hire and promote black people and source from black-owned enterprises. Companies with a higher score gain access to tax breaks and government contracts. But now, the government has proposed a key change. Through the creation of a transformation fund. Firms could pay into the fund to earn points instead of making changes to their ownership or management. The proposed fund would then help finance businesses run by black people. The draft amendments were announced yesterday and they are open to public comment for 60 days before being finalised.
Breaking tonight. South Africa is quietly reviewing the foundations of its black economic empowerment policy. Fast. Behind closed doors. The move is already sending shockwaves through Pretoria, Washington, and global markets. Officials confirm emergency consultations are underway. Documents are being re-examined. Language is being tested. And the pressure, multiple sources say, is coming from the same direction. Donald Trump, United States business interests, and a familiar warning: change the rules or pay the price. Black economic empowerment, B, is not a side policy in South Africa. It is the economic spine of the post-apartheid state. B was designed to correct historic exclusion, to force open boardrooms, to transfer ownership, management, and opportunity to the black majority locked out for generations. It affects mining licenses, banking, telecoms, energy, government contracts. No B compliance, no deal. For years, B has been defended as non-negotiable, a moral obligation, a political red line. Now that line is under strain. According to officials familiar with the talks, South Africa is reviewing B thresholds, ownership requirements, and compliance penalties, not publicly, not formally, but urgently. The trigger is external. Trump-era rhetoric is back in circulation inside United States boardrooms. Claims of discriminatory investment conditions. Warnings that B punishes foreign capital. Quiet threats of capital flight. United States corporations operating in South Africa have been escalating complaints. Mining firms, manufacturers, financial services. The message is blunt. Ease B requirements, or future investment dries up. Trade leverage is now part of the conversation. Preferential access, supply chains, tariffs. Diplomatic signaling has followed. Sources say Trump allies have framed B as a barrier to fair trade, as leverage in future negotiations, as something a United States president could target with executive pressure. South Africa denies capitulation. Publicly, officials insist this is a technical review, a modernization, a fine-tuning to attract growth. Privately, the tone is different. This is about survival in a tightening global economy, about currency pressure, about capital flows, about avoiding isolation. Pretoria is not scrapping B, but it may be recalibrating it. That distinction matters, and it is dangerous, because recalibration can become retreat. South African officials are divided. Some argue flexibility is strategic, that ownership targets can evolve without abandoning justice, that foreign capital can be accommodated without surrender. Others warn this is the start of a slow rollback, a slippery slope. Once B bends, it never snaps back. Inside the ruling party, alarm bells are ringing. B is not just policy. It is political legitimacy. It is the promise that the post-apartheid economy would not remain untouched. Any visible concession risks backlash. From unions, from youth movements, from voters who already feel economic reform has moved too slowly. Reaction from United States circles has been swift. Business groups are applauding the review, calling it long overdue, framing it as a win for market fairness. Trump-aligned voices are louder. They see South Africa as a test case, proof that pressure works, that global South policies can be softened under threat. African analysts are not convinced. Commentators across the continent are warning this moment goes far beyond South Africa. If Pretoria bends, others may be next. Nigeria, Kenya, Namibia, Ghana, countries with local content laws, ownership rules, economic sovereignty frameworks, all vulnerable. This is being framed as a broader confrontation. Global South policy versus Western capital. Conditional investment versus domestic control. And timing is everything. Africa is asserting itself. Through BRICS, through new trade blocs, through South-South partnerships. That assertion has unsettled old power centers. B now sits at the fault line. Is it an obstacle to growth or a shield against exploitation? South Africa's review has already changed the atmosphere. Markets are watching. Currencies are twitching. Investors are recalculating risk. Inside government, silence dominates. No formal announcements. No timelines. Only urgency. Only pressure. Only the knowledge that whatever decision is made will echo far beyond Pretoria. This is not a policy tweak. It is a confrontation. Between history and capital. Between sovereignty and leverage. Between promises made and pressure applied. The questions now hang in the air. Will South Africa hold the line? Will United States pressure escalate under a United States president willing to weaponize trade? And is this the opening act of a wider economic showdown between Washington and African capitals? The answer is coming, and it will not stay contained. Behind the scenes, the mechanics of pressure are becoming clearer. Investment roadshows have slowed. Major funds are reassessing exposure. Expansion plans are quietly paused. No formal sanctions. No public threats. Just hesitation, weaponized. That hesitation is powerful. South Africa's economy remains deeply connected to Western capital flows. Pension funds, insurance giants, commodity traders. Even a rumor of policy instability moves billions. And Trump-linked networks understand that leverage. This is not a phone call from a United States president. It is not a press conference. It is boardrooms talking to boardrooms. Law firms briefing investors. Ratings agencies asking pointed questions. Can BE survive market punishment? That question now dominates internal debates. Supporters of BE warn that once ownership requirements weaken, transformation stalls. That inequality hardens. That political anger explodes later, not sooner. They point to history. Post-apartheid compromise already left economic power concentrated. BE was meant to correct that imbalance, slowly, imperfectly, but visibly. If that mechanism is diluted under foreign pressure, the social contract fractures. Opposition parties are watching closely. Some argue BE has failed to deliver broad-based change. That elites benefited while unemployment soared. That reform must be smarter, not symbolic. Others accuse the government of selling out under pressure from Trump-era forces, of reopening colonial-era economic hierarchies through the back door. Across Africa, the debate is spreading. Analysts warn this is about precedent, not just policy. If external pressure can reshape South Africa's empowerment framework, then no domestic economic model is safe. Local content laws, resource nationalism, state equity requirements, all suddenly negotiable if enough capital threatens to leave. That realization is unsettling capitals across the continent. This moment is being studied carefully, not just in Africa, in Latin America, in Southeast Asia. Governments with post-colonial economic protections are asking the same question. How much sovereignty can you defend when capital moves faster than politics? For now, South Africa is walking a narrow line. Public defiance, private recalibration, trying to buy time. But time is the one thing pressure campaigns deny. Every delay fuels speculation. Every review invites more demands. And Trump-linked voices are not backing down. They are framing this as the start, not the end, of economic correction. That language matters. Because correction implies control. South Africa's decision, when it comes, will signal more than policy direction. It will reveal whether emerging economies can still redraw their economic futures, or whether global capital, backed by United States political influence, still sets the limits. The confrontation is no longer theoretical. It is active, it is unfolding, and it is being watched. What happens next will shape far more than one empowerment law. It may define the balance of power between Africa and the West for the next decade.